You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/builtforus to get started.
School is back, and Dick's Sporting Goods has what you need to win your year. We've got everything from cleats to Sambas, Dunks, and more. Plus, the hottest looks from Nike, Jordan, and Adidas. Find your first day fits in-store or online at Dicks.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, we've got another day of training camp here that we need to recap, so we're going to go ahead and run through the news and notes. As always, thank you to everybody on the scene, bringing all the news to us. Some other news and notesy things, but I want to make sure that we get through this first. This takes precedent. So as usual, we'll start with the Matt LaFleur press conference prior to camp. Talking about the injuries, Edgerrin Cooper will be in today, talking about yesterday, for practice, just for the individual portion of practice. Lloyd is still out. As far as Morgan is working on individuals, and they're going to see if he can do teamwork on Thursday. So I just did a interview with Our Lads. By the way, you should be able to see Packernet Podcast now on the Our Lads homepage, or at least pretty soon when you go check out the Packers page. So that's pretty cool. Keep an eye out for that. But anyways, he was asking me about the injuries and what do you think? And it's like, man, I don't know. Because it's all these like, oh, it should be pretty minor, but at the same time, if they're not back week one, would I be super stunned? No. Disappointed? Yes. But I don't know. So I'm glad to be hearing Edgerrin's doing individuals, Morgan's doing individuals, nothing yet on Lloyd, but I'm hoping that will be rectified soon enough. Matt LaFleur says he still has not determined who is going to be playing against Baltimore, so we'll have to just wait on that. Says it's going to kind of depend on practice and how those things go. I'm assuming he's pretty disappointed with what happened over the past week. And, somebody had called in and made a reference to, I think it was a call-in, but the idea being, based on how bad practice was, he should have made the starters play. I wonder if there's a little bit of that in Matt LaFleur this week of, I'd like to sit the starters, but you guys got to show me something. We can't have another week of practice like last time because that was bull crap. As a reminder, this is Ravens week, and we have additional joint practices this week. So it's kind of a big one because, if you practice really well against yourself and then go kind of 0-2 against other teams, it's just not a good look. I understand the whole, well, it's just practice, it's this, it's that. Yeah, but there is something to, just holding it down against another team. Not that it necessarily makes me feel like we can't beat them in the regular season. It's that whole mentality thing again. It's just getting pushed around, and especially if you're getting pushed around in your own field, but even on somebody else's field, just getting tired of it, Just hope that someday that will change, and fingers crossed that this will be a good week for the Packers. He said he went back and watched the tape, said the guys were playing hard, they were just making a bunch of mental mistakes. Said he saw lots of hats around the football and defense, and that it was clear the effort was good. So that's at least positive, and I don't know that I can necessarily disagree, although, at least in the game, you see people, well, first of all, it's not even entirely true. There were several times I remember looking at a play and just going, what happened to rallying to the football? Because I'm not seeing that as much. And then other times where people would rally, but 5 missed tackles on the play. If you want to say the rallying is effort enough, fine, but I think tackling is part of the effort. But anyways, he said in regard to the kicking competition, you can't see them kick enough, which makes sense. Again, you know how I feel. It's not much of an actual competition, but I do think that they really want to make sure they're making the right decision. I don't know. I don't know that there is a right decision is the honest answer. I don't think Anders, he doesn't seem to be at a place, at least right now. What will he ever be? I don't know. Hopefully. I don't think he's at a place right now where he's going to just be this clutch kicker. But at the same time, we don't have anybody currently that is going to rectify that current situation. So just kind of is what it is, I think. Then there's this little gem. I want to play this for you. I'm not positive, but I think that this is Wilde coming in a little bit late to the press conference. Here's Matt LaFleur's comment on that.
Just to show you that they can handle.
How many times are you going to come to my press conference late? We got a rule in the team meeting. You don't interrupt the meeting. Sit your butt outside. Just kidding.
I thought that was directed at me once. I don't think I've asked about those.
I tried to do my best to play that off, but it probably wasn't very good.
So I mean, it's funny either way. I'm just curious though, because I legitimately think that was real. You could take the last part two different ways. You could say he was trying to play it off like he was mad, or he was trying to play it off like it was a joke at the end when he kind of calmed down. He seemed really aggressive this entire press conference when I was watching it. Like, it's weird. It's almost like he wants to kill somebody, and then he catches himself and he just answers the questions. People are asking questions about injuries, and he looks like he's going to stab them right in the neck. And then he kind of collects himself, and he's like, yeah, we'll see. We got to da-da-da-da-da-da. But it just looks like he wants to just start swinging at people. It's very weird. I don't know if this is just... I don't know. Maybe it's just the way he never used to be this way, but... I just got the impression that was very, very real. And then just like all the other times, he kind of caught himself like, bro, chill. Played it off like a joke. And then, like he said, I tried to play that off, but, I don't know how that panned out. Either way, getting a little grumpy in his I don't hate it either, because I think that's needed. I have made some comments in the past about not really being sure that he's the kind of guy that's going to put fear into a team. It's not exactly the way I've put it, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. And I'll tell you what, man, if you'd have done that to me when I walked in, that was the first time I ever saw Matt LaFleur and thought, dude, that freaked me out a little bit. I don't know. So good to see that he has that in him somewhere. Matt LaFleur on the new defensive scheme says Devonte Wyatt has really excelled in his scheme. So that's of all people, man. That was the other thing that was asked of me in that interview is who's one person on offense and defense. Offense, it was Musgrave. Defense, it was Wyatt. In terms of who do you think is going to break out? Those are the two guys that I picked. I mean, Wyatt has to. I mean, that's the low-hanging fruit, obvious answer. Now, maybe he won't, but it's the most obvious thing. You got a guy as immensely talented as Wyatt who's built for this kind of scheme. I mean, it's just it has to be. Got reports that Henry Pearson is officially back. John Del Rey says he just went hip swiveling by. So this is as people were out there scootering. He's out there with one of the kids. So going to be some reports coming down the pipe of new players coming, new players or old players leaving. Don't have that quite yet. John Del Rey also saying looks like Tyler Davis and Raylan Goforth won't be practicing today. You'll remember Raylan Goforth went out with a concussion, so he's still dealing with the repercussions from that. Wasn't let go, though. He did have a little bit of a rough day and was injured, so he would have been near the top of the list on my thoughts of who potentially was let go. I think LJ Davis, or whatever his name is probably at the top, but good for him for hanging in at least for this period of time. Herman says that Hale, Joseph, Carlson are all here for practice, so none of the changes are coming at kicker, at least at this time. Matt Schneidman says Alex Hale just had a double doink and in during warm-ups. Give him the job. I mean, I guess. It makes me a little bit nervous, but if you can double doink and in, that is a pretty impressive shot. I'll give you that. Just don't let the Bears have him. I don't need a curse breaker up there. We got walkthroughs starting now. Edgerrin Cooper is rotating in with the starters in walkthroughs. He's in there with Eric Wilson in a nickel look at the moment. It's the first note, so I'm guessing that's more or less how they started off. Matt Schneidman has a list of new Packers injuries. A.J. Dillon, stinger. Andre Dillard, shoulder. Tyler Davis, shoulder. Preston Smith is out with an illness. Spencer Waggy has a concussion. It's another one that can't really afford that. And Henry Pearson was re-signed with Jarvion Howard being released. Oh, that one kind of stings a little bit. They're so quick to get rid of running backs, man. I always like these running backs. I get attached to them. He's a brand new, undrafted free agent. He runs hard. He's built like a Gutekunst guy, and I'm just like, I like this guy. This happens to me every time. I fall for these running backs. I get excited about them. Emmanuel Wilson, Nate McCrary last year. Every year they're these running backs. Usually they don't get let go this early. They linger for a while, but man, Jarvion Howard came in for one preseason, played well, gets injured, and he ends up being bottom of the totem pole. He could end up coming back. We've had a lot of guys leave and come back, but Jarvion Howard released is not my favorite bit of news for the day. Herman says, interesting, Jacob Monk rotating in at right guard with the starters in walkthroughs. Could be misremembering, but don't recall seeing that. Nagler says he did do that with Denver, but as I mentioned yesterday, very, very interesting that Sean Ryan played his entire game at center in this past one. So maybe kind of trying some different things with Sean Ryan at center and Jacob Monk at guard. But according to Paul Brettel, he says, we will see what happens in team drills, but in walkthroughs, Ryan began at right guard with Monk then rotating in. So presumably Myers is that dude at center. So makes sense. According to Tom Silverstein, former Packers offensive line coach James Campen is at camp today, dressed in team garb, hanging out with personnel people, so he may have been added as a scout. He isn't doing any coaching out here. Man, how fantastic would that be, huh? Need some offensive line help. Bring back a legend, James Campen. Have him help out, do a little personnel work, either pro personnel or a little college scout. And either way, man, I'll take it. Whatever we got for him. Got a very delayed quote on Oladapo. He says, I'm excited about the player. I think he showed consistent growth every time we go out and practice. Obviously, that makes me very happy. Don't have a lot of hopes on him getting a lot of reps as far as the regular season or whatever, but take whatever we can get. Rob Domofsky says, former longtime offensive line coach James Campen is back with the Packers. I'm told he's going to work under GM Brian Gutekunst in a scouting role as a consultant. He's here for the final portion of camp, but will mostly work remotely from his home in Florida. What a good gig that is, huh? Good for Goody, man. Goody's looking for a little extra help. Goes out and finds a guy. He's like, look, dude, we'll cut you a check. You can work from home. It's all remote. Just help us out. We'll send you some film. You fill out a report. We'll have some meetings. You let us know what you like, what you don't like. I like that. All right, we're about to get into teams, so why don't we go ahead and take our break here, and then we'll come back and see how the boys did. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
All right, starters in team. We got Love and Jacobs on the field. Reed, Watson, and Wicks are your wide receivers. Kraft is at tight end. Offensive line is Walker, Elton, Myers, Ryan, and Tom. And then we got Gary, Slayton, Clark, and Inigbare are your defensive linemen, which makes sense with Preston out with an illness. Quay and McDuffie are still your linebackers. Stokes, Nixon, Jair are your corners. And McKinney and Bullard is your most common alignment for starting safety. So we're kind of coming into our own here. I think wide receiver still has a lot of flux in terms of who the starters are there. Tight end is going to be either Musgrave or Kraft or both or some weird combination. Offensive line is coming into shape. That right guard spot is still up for grabs. I said Morgan is basically the guy, but with him getting injured, it kind of throws a question mark back up. We'll see when he comes back from injury if he just becomes that dude pretty regularly or if it kind of fluctuates from there. We'll see how she goes. Offense starts with two really nice runs by Josh Jacobs and a complete deep crosser to Romeo Doubs from Love. Love had all day. Beautiful throw from 10 to 87. Great start for the offense. Love to see that. It's been a while since our offense has got moving here. First deep ball of the day has a great touch. Love to Doubs for 30-plus down the left sideline over Stokes. Herman says, with all the injuries at running back, Nate McCrary just got a carry with the ones. Made the most of it. Nice little run up the middle. Good burst. And then Love hits Doubs. It's not the same run, by the way, because it was both of those were Herman, so it's not a mistake that it was Jacobs and then McCrary both doing a good job running. But Love hits Doubs in stride down the sideline for a big pickup. Says, in a game, McKinney would have had a free hit on him, but he lets this one go. Schneidman says the same thing. Now a laser from Love to Doubs for a big completion down the right side. McKinney would have taken Romeo's head off in a game. Jacob Monk now rotating in at right guard. Love now completes to Reed for a nice pickup, followed by another really nice Jacobs run and a crosser to Kraft for a big gain, and the offense is on fire. Caden Sanilla adds to that, says Jordan Love is absolutely on fire right now. Kickers go out. Carlson is good from 41 and 45. Hale is good from 45 and 43. Joseph, good from 41, misses from 43. So Joseph now, with no misses coming from anyone except Joseph, having the last two misses, his average is now going to start to plummet and get closer to where everybody else is. We'll get an update on that in just a second here. As soon as we can find it, I'm sure it's coming. Here we go. Anders Carlson now actually takes the lead. He is 52 of 64, 81.3%. Greg Joseph has fallen, 53 of 66, 80.3%. Alex Hale, 13 of 18, 72.2. So 81.3, 80.3, and 72.2. So good for Anders for taking the lead. Unfortunately, it's not for, being very good necessarily. Although he's basically hit everything except for the two really bad days. But 81.3% is not necessarily ideal. Love to Doubs behind him, but Doubs got his hands on it but couldn't haul it in. Should have been an easy completion. First mistake from the offense. Love to Watson, complete over the middle. Another one that in-game Watson would have taken a hit, but this time Quay kept him safe. Love to Kraft on a screen for a big gain. Probably the best executed screen I've seen from Green Bay in a while. Ryan Wood says Tucker Kraft just took a check down from Jordan Love, and I'm not sure how far it would have been in a game, but let's just say Packers' young tight end has a gear that is unreal in the open field. There's a reason he calls himself the Yak Guy. It is fun watching that guy turn upfield, man. He just turns into a freight train. Love to Musgrave, complete for a short gain. Love to Reed on a wide receiver screen that also works. Offense making everything look good at the moment. Good pressure by the defense, but Love somehow finds Kraft out wide on a check down for a handful of yards. Katan Oladapo is flexing and busting some moves out here on the sideline of Packers training camp, according to Caden Sanilla. All right, now we've got, oh my goodness, more kicking. Carlson 1 of 2, Hale 1 of 2, Joseph 0 for 2. So the distance is now, total update, Carlson is good from 33, 45, and 41, missed from 47. Hale, good from 33, 43, 45, missed from 49, so both of them missed their longest kicks. Joseph missed, the only one he made was his closest kick, 41. He missed from 43, 47, and 49. I wouldn't be, the guy was in the lead. Everyone's talking about making him the guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first kicker cut after this performance. He's the least desirable anyways because he has no upside. Very rough day for Joseph. So now the camp totals are unders is 80.3%. Greg Joseph falls to 77.9% and Alex Hale at 70%. Got a regular Dan Whelan update. Absolutely skyrocketing some punts out here at Packers training camp. I wonder how much of that is, that's actually what's happening compared to just actually seeing it and hearing the boom up close and how shocking that is. I don't know. Got a little Bears practice update. Courtney Cronin says tempers are flaring at practice. Ian Wheeler was hit by Gervon Dexter and a skirmish ensued. Next play, Velus Jones Jr. is tackled to the ground, either by Edwards or Edmonds, and things escalated. Several helmets off. Cole Kmet got in the middle of it. More of a fight than a skirmish. I'm sure we'll see this on Hard Knocks. That's fantastic. Still haven't started watching that yet. I got to get in the game here. All right, 2-minute drill. One's up first, down by 3. Flat to Musgrave, short gain, clock ticks. Jacobs over the middle, first down, clock ticks. Dobbs, short gain, but out of bounds. Jacobs, short gain from Love, but out of bounds, first down. 41 seconds left, first down, down 3, ball in the opposing 40. Little screen to Kraft, first down, but clock ticks. Clock the ball, second down. 15 seconds left, ball on the 29-yard line, no timeouts. Jair and Watson get tangled, incomplete. Looked like Love was throwing it away anyways. Love back shoulder to Jaden Reed on the left sideline. Reed couldn't locate it, incomplete. Field goal attempts upcoming, oh boy. Bill Huber says, Love sharp start in 2 minute, but drive stalls. From 46, Carlson and Joseph were good, and Hale missed. So, just nothing good going on. Anders is, listen, my position hasn't changed. Let's just leave it at that. Everybody on social media right now is saying we have to find somebody from the outside. I stand on what I've been saying. It's not going to happen, I don't think, but whatever. We'll see how she goes. Kicker camp totals right now, 80.6% for Anders, 78.3% for Greg Joseph, 66.7% for Alex Hale. He's 14 of 21. Red zone now, Love to Watson, incomplete. Would have been a crazy one-handed catch. Tough play. Love to Dobbs. Jair all over it for the pass breakup. Sweet play by Jair. That's been a play that's worked a ton in camp. And the play of training camp to end the day. Love over the middle. Quay deflects it. Elton Jenkins catches it and dives and drives a pile of 20 Packers into the end zone for a touchdown. Elton Jenkins, weapon. That's how you end practice, man. An Elton Jenkins touchdown. I like that. I'll tell you what, that went pretty fast, so why don't we go ahead and take our final break. We'll come back and wrap up with any odds and ends here. We'll be right back. All right, so let's get started with some news and notes here. So Brian Flores did address the Tua comments. From what I can tell, there was nothing super heartfelt about it. It felt to me to be sort of a, I'm sorry you feel that way kind of a thing. He stressed the importance of player relationships and says he wishes the best for Tua, and if there's any lingering issues, he wants to sort it out. Didn't hear anything about, I definitely didn't say those things, number one, or I said it and I'm deeply sorry about it. He did talk a little bit about reflection and whatnot, but I don't know. I guess take it how you want to take it, but again, at the very least, I didn't hear any sort of comments about that not taking place, which by itself is shocking enough. I mean, the allegations were that you essentially said that he sucked and he didn't belong there and he's no good, and there wasn't so much as a nah, dude, I don't know what the heck he's talking about. He's just like, look, man, I try to be friends with players, and I like players, and I used to be a player, and, if he's got a problem, he can come talk to me like a man, but, so anyways, moving on. Actually, interesting note on that, as far as the comments specifically about working it out with Tua, I was under the impression that it was sort of a thing that he just brought up organically. Let me read this from Kevin Seifert. He says, finally, on whether Flores wants to work it out personally with Tua, he says, maybe if that time arises or is available, I'm certainly open to that, but I got a lot of other things going on too, as he does. So it wasn't even like part of his spiel saying I'd like to work it out with him. It was a question that was asked, to which he said, like, yeah, I don't know, man, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I'm not freaking worried about it. And then not really a report so much, but Score North for the Minnesota Vikings had Darren Wolfson on to talk about the Jordan Addison situation. He says, we're dealing with a pretty significant ankle sprain that is going to set him back for at least another week or 2 weeks. So the Jordan Addison thing, we'll see how that pans out. Not going to be a season-long thing, obviously, but we might be buttoned up to week 1 here before he gets back on the field. So not that it massively matters for the Minnesota Vikings, who are, the most polite way I can say it is not really in Super Bowl contention. But, I'm kind of happy with the way things are going. I think Jordan Addison coming back, having Justin Jefferson, adding a halfway competent corner, even though I think it's a stupid thing. Same with Aaron Jones. It's going to mean they're going to win football games. Hopefully not against the Packers, but they're going to win football games, and probably enough to make them a mid-first round pick type of team. And then again, they have like 3 picks next year, so it's a pretty bleak outlook for the Vikings' immediate future. And then just a couple notes on the Bears and the Packers. I mean, this, I shouldn't say I don't want it to be my shtick, because, I mean, it was a pretty successful and albeit really fun shtick with the whole Justin Fields thing. I don't want it to be a Caleb Williams thing again. But I guess as long as it's a thing, it means Caleb isn't good, because as soon as he's good, I'm just going to say he's good, and then the conflict is over. It's only a conflict when he's not good, and I say he's not good, and all the brain-dead zombies out there say, no, he's really good. But anyways, there is a little bit more of that. First of all, Caleb and the majority of the Bears starters are done with the preseason games. Matt Eberflus said that he will not be playing, so his pretty mediocre 2-game performance is all we get in the preseason before we start getting some regular season action, obviously be able to better evaluate, because the biggest thing is about consistency and whatnot. So be able to evaluate whether or not this is actually the beginning of a legitimate rivalry between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, or if it's just another catastrophic situation for the Bears. I do have a couple things I want to play for you, though, and it's hilarious to me, the contrast. One of them, obviously, is one I deeply disagree with. One of them I deeply agree with. I'm sure you can guess which one's which. Here is from Speak, and usually I kind of like Shady McCoy. Maybe it was just because he was the only one that didn't like Justin Fields. I don't know. But Speak is, I think, kind of awful. I mean, Jones is okay. Shady I kind of like. Acho and what's that other lady's name? I couldn't stand. But anyways, here's a little segment on Caleb Williams after not seeing almost anything except pretty subpar play with some flashy plays mixed in. Let me make sure that this is working so I don't waste my time. Here we go.
Y'all think it's small, man. You got to think big. Y'all think it's small. You got to think big, man. I understand you want to run the ball. But when you pop on the tape and you see that, how many times you handed it off? Buddy like that, man, and we sitting over here acting like Buddy not like that. He gonna be in this MVP conversation. Ooh, he's gonna be in this MVP conversation. And we don't have to. Can I finish?
We're going 35, and you just want to push it to 90.
He been like this all day. You just noticed it. He been like this all day.
Can I finish?
You can finish.
Can I finish?
James Jones, I swear.
He's gonna be in this MVP conversation for a lot of the reasons y'all just said. Right? Y'all believe the hype. You think this means what?
Playoffs.
So mean you're going to have a really good record, 10, 11 wins, maybe even a little more. He got all these playmakers around him. But the wow plays, when quarterbacks win MVPs and people win MVPs, it's the wow plays. And sometimes it's not even the stats. I believe he's going to have the plays to wow you with his legs, with his arms. His team is going to be winning games. I think they'll be in the playoff hunt. I think they'll be a playoff team. I think this young fella, I don't even know the statistics on if a rookie ever won it. He is going to be in the MVP conversation. I don't need to see no more. I've seen enough. He's going to be in the MVP conversation this season. Better believe it.
So I thought Shady was the one that went off, but it was James Jones, I guess, which Shady's just sitting there shaking his head. So I still like Shady. I'll be honest, man, that the take kind of makes sense, mostly because what he's saying is, although, he is saying that Caleb Williams is really good or whatever, the part that I do resonate with is the fact that, look, he doesn't even have to be that good. He just has to have the flashy plays, be good enough to score enough points with the playmakers that you have to get to 10 wins and get into the playoffs. That's all it takes for you to be in the MVP conversation. And of course, the voters are going to be hyping you up. He didn't say this, but they're going to be hyping him up more than anybody else because he's a flashy player, not just an efficient player. Now, I'm hoping that he's not that good anyways, but that's the kind of conversation we got going on most of the places. Most of the places, it's here's a guy that was 6 of 13 for 75 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, a rushing touchdown, no passing touchdowns. Couldn't get a first down against backups for the first 3 drives. MVP. Is that what we're thinking? Come on, man. Here is a contrast to that. This is Michael Lombardi, who, listen, I've had my issues with Michael Lombardi. He said some stuff I disagree with, especially wildly out of left field. Just, I mean, it's not even about correct or incorrect. Just really... what is the word? I don't want to just say disrespectful because that doesn't quite say it. Comments about Matt LaFleur, but anyways, he does seem to have somewhat of a head on his shoulders as compared to a lot of these other people, and he has held a job that means you have some level of competence, although I don't believe he was very good at that job. But anyways, here is Michael Lombardi on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee obviously just wanting to jump on that hype train and get all excited about Caleb. And here is what he had to say.
Let me say this. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a great pro. But let's just put things in perspective here. The first 3 drives of the game, the Bengals are playing their backup number 2 defensive team. And the Bengals and the Bears are playing their first team offense. They couldn't get a first down.
Okay.
So let's slow down. Everybody.
Yeah. So, and listen, that's pretty much verbatim what I said on my Caleb Williams rant. That's pretty much verbatim what I said. He's probably going to be good. I don't know. He hasn't shown it yet, but it's just, if for no other reason, it feels unlikely that the Bears can just screw this up again. But, yeah, I mean, he hasn't done anything special yet. Excuse me, I stand corrected. He's been special. He hasn't shown he's a quarterback yet. But he's right. I mean, and I understand. I mean, the Pat McAfee show and Speak and Colin Cowherd and all these, they wouldn't have shows if they just were giving rational takes. If they just came out and they're like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I have no idea how I'm still here, why you're still listening to me. I know I can be a little takey sometimes and ranty and whatnot, but yeah, I'm impressed with myself, to be honest, because I somehow have. It's 1,000th of the audience that they have, but still, I'm impressed that anybody listens to me come on here and go, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yes, who knows? Who can know these things? 2 more clips, this time about the Green Bay Packers. Here is Tom Brady talking to Stephen A. Smith.
The number 1 threat to the Chiefs in the entire NFL.
I think it's probably still the 49ers and the Packers, I think, are going to be a great team. And you know what? I think the Rams are going to be a good team this year, too.
The number 1 threat.
There you go. There you go. Now, granted, I think somebody shouted Packers into his face, and so he kind of just blurted that out. But it is good to hear from a person like Brady, especially since he's walking into an analyst role now, so he has to start paying more attention to these teams. To hear, obviously, 49ers right there, to have Packers on the tip of his tongue. He didn't say Lions, by the way, and maybe this is how he took it, but he didn't say NFC either. He just said, he specifically said, number 1 threat to the Chiefs in the entire NFL. So that could be the Baltimore Ravens, that could be the Cincinnati Bengals, that could be a lot of different teams. So he says 49ers, obviously, then he goes to the Packers, and then he says, I also think the Rams are going to be a good team, which I've heard several people say that now. All right, here's Colin Cowherd. As much as I've talked about how terrible his takes are, it feels a little weird playing it, but when you get one, you get one. So he's doing his 5 bold predictions for the season. He's on number 4 right here. Let me turn this up. Here we go.
Number 4, I think Jordan Love wins the MVP. First of all, the last 10 years, the last 10 starts last year, he was the best quarterback in football.
Correct.
Yep. Also, I think there's voter fatigue with Lamar, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes winning MVP. We want a new story. Media likes stories. He's fresh. He's fun. Also, I think they're stacked offensively with an offensive coach. Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Christian Watson. I think they have. And last year, their offense at the end of the year, it was like, whoa, what do we got here? Young quarterback, generationally aligned with all his young receivers and tight ends and O-linemen. I think this offense is magic this year.
It is kind of funny because obviously we're all jockeying for position here, Lions, Packers, and Bears fans on who gets the most praise and how much and how and what and where and all that. It is a big departure from, what was it, was it last year even? I think it might have been last year the narrative was NFC North the worst division in football because Rodgers was gone. The Bears were expected to be garbage. The Lions were the only team. I know there have been a few times in recent history. I don't think it would have been 2021 or 2020. And it shouldn't have been 2022 because 2022 even, we had Rodgers coming off his second MVP season. So it had to have been last year with Rodgers being gone that the narrative was it was going to be the worst division in football. Now you got, the Lions and the Packers, and with all the hype surrounding the Bears, whether they're going to be good or not is irrelevant. It's a very hyped up football team, offensively and defensively. Arguably one of, if not the best divisions in football. So that's a heck of a turnaround. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way. Didn't end up being that way last year with Detroit being maybe even better than people thought. The Packers being significantly better than people thought. Bears maybe being marginally better. I don't know. But it's a good spot to be in. It's better than the alternative, which is everybody just doesn't feel like talking about you because there's nothing to talk about. So anyways, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to get out of here. You have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.